Welcome to the online worship service of the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or ERUUF, as we like to say. My name is Reverend Jacqueline Brett, and whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, gender, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we welcome you to this beloved community. Today, we will be celebrating our newest members of ERUUF. And our music today is by Lelena Romero and Michael Slack on vocals, Kate Lewis on piano, and Chris Macon on guitar and keyboard. If you are visiting with us online for the first or perhaps the second or even the third time, we invite you to find out more about who we are by using the link that should be appearing in the chat box on your screen right now. And it will also appear in the chat box at the end of the service. Click on that link, you can fill out some details, and we'll be back in touch with you. Beginning next week, the Inquirer series of classes will return and will be online next Sunday, April 26th at 11:45 a.m. The class will be Q&A with a minister featuring Reverend Care. This class is specifically designed for visitors and friends, and members are also welcome to attend. Please register in advance via e-news or via the calendar at eruf.org. Just click on April 26th and you'll see the class and you can just register there. We invite everyone, whether you're here for the first time or the 100th time, to join us directly after this service for virtual coffee hour. You can bring your own cup of coffee or tea, and using the link that will appear in the chat box on your screen at the end of this service, you'll be whisked away to a Zoom room that will give you an opportunity to visit with old friends and perhaps to meet new ones. You'll receive specific instructions on how to do this at the end of the service. As with all things online these days, that we're doing online these days, we ask for your patience and kind humor as we work out any technical challenges we might encounter. Our services will continue online in the weeks ahead. Please consult our website, eruf.org, for information as this continues to evolve. Many of our classes, meetings, and other events have moved online as well. Please check with group or team leaders for more information about the activities you're involved with. Information on these and other events can be found in the weekly e-news or on our web calendar at eruf.org. You can also email office@eruf.org for more information. So, let us now center ourselves from all of our various locations in North Carolina and around the country. Let's bring our minds, our hearts to this time and this moment. Let us all together take a deep breath in and let it out. And let us begin worship.
There is a place I love to call my home. There is a peace I only feel in sharing it with you and letting you share too. It makes the welcome real. Singing alone, it lets my heart shine through. But there is a music in your soul that joins its voice with mine. It's only then we find the kind of peace we know is true. We are here together in this holy moment. welcome in this place. It helps me see the face of God to greet my outcast here. We are here together in this holy moment, and we're grateful for the winding road that brought us to this place. And this dissonance we boldly sing resolves us to one goal. We will spend time together, and these holy moments give us strength to go down the winding road until we meet again. We will spend time together, and these holy moments give us strength to go down the winding road until we meet again. And my prayer for you is a peace that's true until we meet again.
Friends, we are here together in this holy moment. Hear these words, our opening words from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his 1963 letter from a Birmingham jail. In a real sense, all life is interrelated. All people are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied together in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of all reality. Dr. King. Chrissy Miller, one of ERUUF's newest members, who you will meet later in the service, has our chalice lighting words this morning. Chrissy?
We light our chalice this morning, honoring our interconnectedness, our interdependence, our interrelatedness, woven together in a network of love.
Our chalice lighting was delivered by Chrissy Miller, as you all know. And a nice thing to know about Chrissy is that Chrissy travels over nearly an hour away from Sanford, North Carolina, every Sunday when she attends ERUUF when we're together and alive. And that is pretty impressive. So I now invite you to sing hymn number 1010 with us, Oh We Give Thanks. Lelena Romero will lead us on vocals with Kate Lewis on piano, and the lyrics will appear on your screen so that you can sing along.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away.
Nicole and Nicholas Yates, who have been attending ERUUF for some time now with their two daughters, Genevieve and Violet, will now share why they chose to become members of ERUUF.
Hi, I'm Nikki Yates.
And I'm Nick Yates.
So we've been attending services at ERUUF for over 2 years now, and finally becoming a member has been a very meaningful experience. For many years, I had a hard time reconciling the concept of spirituality with reason, science, and logic, but ERUUF and the UU theology that we have learned about has really helped me to reconcile those concepts in my mind. And really everything about the fellowship and the campus just feels like home to me.
I'm also excited to finally be a member, but I've actually felt very welcomed and embraced as part of the community for a long time. From early on, we were given the opportunity to help with RE, and we love that our girls are now in the Chalice Singers, which has given us more time and opportunities to connect with other ERUUF members. This is a great environment for me to continue on my journey in becoming the best version of myself.
So for us as a family, we really enjoy the RE programming and how the teachers connect with the kids. And what's great is that we always seem to find these opportunities when the lessons can be applied at home in real life scenarios. And we also feel this is a really great environment for our kids to pursue their own spiritual journeys that may look very different than our own. So thank you. We are very excited to finally be members, and we're looking forward to continuing our journey as a family here at ERUUF.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? I'm so excited to see all of our new members this morning. And so now, at this time, Reverend Brett and I and Flynn McSherry, who is the chair of our membership team, are going to recognize those new members. River is Unitarian Universalist Fellowship is a spiritual community that's dedicated to the search for truth and compassion in all of our living. We have no creeds. That's not what holds us together. What holds us together are the promises we make to each other, our best intentions. And when we break those promises, when we fail, when we fall down occasionally, we call each other back into right relationship and into beloved community. That's the deal here. That's what we promise. And so the other thing about us is we follow many spiritual paths, and we join those together in one faith, Unitarian Universalism. And together, we do everything we can to create the world that we dream of, the world we want our children to inherit. A couple of times a year, we celebrate the individuals who have made the decision to join ERUUF and to become members of the fellowship. And no coronavirus is stopping us today. We are keeping on with that great tradition. I'm so excited that right now, Jacqueline will read the names of our newest members. And as each name is read, the picture of the newest member will appear on your screen.
Sharon Bagatelle, Kimberly and Tito Craig, Janice Davis, Karen Klein and Mike Gorman, Jenna and Matthew Lahif, Julia Marone and Peter Schwab, Chrissy Miller, Pam Watkins, Andrea Wong, and Nicole and Nicholas Yates with their children, Genevieve and Violet.
We welcome you as friends and companions in this congregation. We are a group of diverse individuals bound together by our common quest, our common needs, and our common values. May you grow in your sense of belonging as you take your place among us.
In joining this congregation, you will become stewards and trustees of the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. What happens here, now and in the future, will be because of your initiative, your hard work, your stewardship, and your imagination. I urge you to learn all you can about our tradition and to develop your own sense of who you are as a Unitarian Universalist. And I urge you always to bring here the passion of your dreams and your highest hopes. Welcome.
So, as is our usual custom, we shall affirm the bonds of unity and community that we've covenanted to make here together. So first, our new members will read their words, and because of the way this technology works, Peter Schwab is going to read on behalf of all the new members, but they are going to be reading along, we know, at home. So Peter, would you please read these words?
Universalist Fellowship, we join in the covenant to affirm and promote the principles of Unitarian Universalism, accepting differences among us as opportunities for growth. We will contribute towards making this a vital and loving community.
Thank you, Peter. And now, members of the congregation, your response is now going to appear on the screen. Flynn is going to read this. However, because of wherever you are, we invite all of you to read these along with Flynn as a welcome to our newest members.
We welcome you. We join with you in your quest and rededicate ourselves to the ideals of this community.
And I think we might have a picture of all of our newest members. Is that true, Michelle? Okay, I think what we were hoping for might not be able to happen right now. So just friends at home, I would, there they are. There they are. Just can you let these newest members into your heart? Just feel the goodness of people joining, even while we're distant from each other. We are united and we are one together as ERUUF. And so now we are going to sing together. We are going to sing Welcome Table. We have Lelena and Michael leading us, and the lyrics will appear on the slides.
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna sit at the welcome table. We're gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah. We're gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. One of these days. No fancy style at the welcome table. No fancy style at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah. No fancy style at the welcome table.
Our next new member, Reflection, is by Sharon Bagatelle. When she was joining ERUUF, Sharon, she just very deeply moved us as she told us of her first experience attending one of our worship services out of just mild curiosity, and then she was moved to stay. So here now is Sharon Bagatelle.
Good morning. I'm delighted to be joining into community with you all and honored to share my reflections on what this means to me. My journey with ERUUF has been wonderfully unexpected. A year ago, brand new to the Triangle, I volunteered to staff a table for Citizens Climate Lobby on a Sunday morning. I was looking to get involved with the local Citizens Climate Lobby chapter, not looking at all for a faith community. But I'm a curious explorer, and so I slipped into the service just to see what it was like. As I listened, I had a sudden, overwhelming sense of, this feels like home in my soul. I was deeply touched by the beautiful interweaving of spiritual practice, human community, and so important for me, social action. And this uncovered a buried memory. Years ago, as a young teen, I explored my own, on my own, a wide range of faith traditions. Though I grew up with strong Jewish roots, I dreamed of pulling together what seemed like the best of all the world's beliefs and practices to create my own religion. I had no idea, and really didn't until a year ago, that Unitarian Universalists had already done just that. I delight in the way ERUUF embraces many wisdom traditions and puts those teachings into practice. I'm excited to learn more and have no doubt that I will grow a lot. At the same time, I'm very appreciative that by joining this faith community, I'm not asked to give up who I am or the traditions from which I come. In fact, I have the sense that what I bring and what each of us brings is celebrated and received as a gift. Being new to the area, I felt very welcomed at ERUUF. I particularly want to mention my new friend Jan with deep gratitude. Jan's kindness and encouragement helped me to get over my new girl jitters and feel a connection to the congregation from my first day here. I marvel at the many avenues for making connections and the potential for finding deep community and the many ways to contribute. It may be strange to say, but in this time of COVID distance, connection with ERUUF has actually grown and deepened. By this, I mean my heart connection. During 3 weeks in isolation, I've sat alone on Sundays, watching the live stream service. It has meant so much to me to hear the soothing words of wisdom, feel the music, and tap into the energy of a caring community, even across the internet. It has felt so authentic and has touched me profoundly. And each time I felt my heart just about bursting with appreciation, gratitude, and love. All of this has been delightfully unexpected in a time of great transition for me. And I look forward to so much more as I step into beloved community with you all.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much. That means a lot. And I know it'll be wonderful to get to know you better, and also to, as we all get to know you and our fellow new members in the days and weeks and months ahead. I look forward to that. I want to take a turn now, and invite everyone to settle into your body, to become aware of your body as you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Just take a moment to focus inside Just notice what's happening with you on this beautiful morning together. And I invite you to join me in these words of spoken prayer. We'll have a little moment for silence toward the end. Dear God, we are asking, we are praying, even those of us who normally don't. We are sending love and light, our best intentions and visions of hope and equity and comfort. Oh, comfort us this day, oh God. Comfort thy people in all our afflictions, as we see in statistics the ugly side we don't normally admit. The shame of our nation, what we allow life to be for too many. And we're scared, if not of what we see, then that the cover will be pulled up as quickly as possible, as usual. Oh God, oh God. Dear God, we are praying. We are praying with our breath and our tears, our failures and sorrow. We are not turning away. We are not turning away. Oh God, let us not turn away. We are praying, oh God. We are praying for courage to live into this moment with love for each other. Give us the strength to resist this urge to divide, this hate so delicious for those not on our side. We pray for the helpers, the lovers of life who drive buses, the ones who bag groceries, who check vital signs, who hold iPads for families of loved ones who are dying so suddenly and alone. For all the exhausted, overwhelmed who feel helpless, we lift our palms, stretch our arms, welcome them home to belonging, into this place that can hold all of our grief and all of our gratitude. If we can just find the courage to let our hearts break just a little, so your love, oh God, so your love can pour in. Oh God, let your love pour in. Let's join together for a few moments in the sounds and the silence of this beautiful day together. We are praying, oh God, we are praying for courage to live into this moment with love for each other, for the world we believe that can be. Ashe, Amen, blessed be.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome.
Wow. That choir is a choir, the choir of Oakwood University, a historically Black college in Huntsville, Alabama. Boy, you talk about putting a song we know so well into a different context, a context that magnifies its meaning far beyond what we previously knew, and in ways most of us could have never possibly imagined. So I must admit, the first time I saw that video, which was originally sent to Reverend Kerr and myself by a ruffian, Karen Dold, I actually flinched when I saw images of people touching hands, grasping them, arms locking, bodies touching, leaning into each other, people holding onto each other. I suddenly realized I was staring at the images with a slight feeling of dread, and I grew curious about my reaction. I, who love to give and receive hugs all the time. As I watched the images flicker past my screen, I suddenly worried if perhaps my reaction might be what some mean by the new normal we are entering into, creating for ourselves. And that felt just as deeply troubling to me as the virus itself and the collective trauma it has brought upon us the world over in our inescapable network we are all a part of, all beings. And if we did not believe it before, or understood what the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King meant when he said, we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Perhaps now we have at least an inkling of insight about what he meant and the interdependent reality of it. Brooklyn writer Hala Alian recently wrote, "Never in my life have I been so brutally aware of interdependence. I imagine I'm not alone in this. All day, I think about my body in relation to other bodies. The delivery box I touch has been touched by the mail carrier, by a worker at the warehouse, by anybody they've touched. Every subway pole is marked by the ghosts of hundreds, thousands of hands," she says. The stranger whose hand my husband shook at a wedding in Providence weeks ago has intersected with the dog walker of my coworker's neighbor. We are all in an elaborate, complicated ballet with everyone else. And the only thing more astonishing than this new reality is that it isn't new at all, only our awareness of it. And exactly what is it that we have become aware of? Surely not simply all the manner and means by which we can each spread disease, that we need to wash our hands and keep our surfaces clean. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about those things that, if we are fully honest, we know have been in our awareness all along. All the people who have been at the margins and falling through the cracks. The media seems to now obsessively notice them as if their plight is something authentically new that has come into our sudden awareness. And I believe this is quite disingenuous. Now, let me make sure I'm clear that I do believe the unique impact of COVID-19 on low income, poor, and the oppressed is a story that needs to be told. But in addition to referring to bad government policies, I believe we must also ask ourselves, what realities about these same people have we collectively ignored, turned away from, pushed to the edges of our imaginations? to discuss the disproportionate number of deaths among Black and Brown people, or health disparities among Black people, or the structural disadvantages that poor and low-income people are facing right now, as though light is being shed on something previously unknown before, is certainly not news for those of us who are among these groups. And sadly, it's not even news that people have been pushed to the unconscious edges of our collective awareness, pushed to the margins where too often we don't notice what's really going on in their lives and why it needs to matter to all of us. However, COVID-19 seems to be calling humanity to not pretend to not see what we know is really there, though some, as we all know, are determined to do just that. What does seem to be authentically new for some of us is just how inescapably connected we are to each other, how essential we are, and how tightly woven we are to one another than we might have ever fully realized. And so how we treat one another, value, and demonstrate our tangible concern for one another is ultimately about the well-being of us all. And I suspect this is why the poet Lynn Unger worries in a recent work. She says, "I am afraid the fabric that holds us together is woven more loosely than I thought, and people keep slipping through." Our connections to each other as humanity, indeed as all beings, is inescapable. When we choose to act out in brutal, selfish, and unconscious ways, we bring great harm to each other. The weave of our fabric seems loose as people slip through, and not simply some people, as we may have once believed, perhaps with some discomfort. But as we are seeing today, it is quite possible that it can eventually be any or all of us slipping through the loose weave of our fabric. So none of us is really safe. The systems and structures that don't work for one group of people will ultimately be the undoing of us all. And I believe we are seeing that now. As one young woman, a home healthcare worker in New York without medical insurance, recently said, "I just really want people to understand that it's hard right now to go to work and live for other people. I want to make sure that they know we're all in this together. Everyone is scared, but the world is in this together." Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly, said Martin Luther King. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be, and you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. Please listen now as Henry Amador Batten shares a poem, another poem by Lynn Unger called Distance.
Namaste, good friends. This reading is by Lynn Unger. It's called Distance. Admit it, you've watched the news, witnessed scenes of devastation from afar, earthquake, tsunami, bushfires, drought, and instructed yourself in distance, coached yourself through how this could never happen to you. The desperate refugee at the border, children hiding from bombs in Syria. Of course, you're sorry, but parsed your own security through it all. Who hasn't listened to a siren scream by and muttered a prayer, almost beneath consciousness? Please, don't let it be my home. Don't let it be someone I love. Please. Surely we are safer behind some sort of wall, protected from the grief of belonging, but all along your heart knew it was a lie. The polite fiction that you tell a child, nothing bad can happen. You are safe with me. Look around. Confess the truth, the horrifying blessing, the cracked heart of our salvation. There is no them. Everything that happens, happens to us all.
I don't have to know where I'm going. I just need to be here. I just need to be here. I just need to be here. I don't need to have all the answers. I just need to love now. I just need to love now. I just need to love now. I don't need to fight all the time. I just need to trust now. I just need to trust now. I just need to trust now. I don't need to run from myself now. I just need to drop down. I just need to drop down into the arms of love, into the arms of love, into the arms of love, into the arms of love. We don't need to know where we're going. We're all here together. We're all here together. We're all here together. We don't need to have all the answers. We just need to love now. We just need to love now. We just need to love now. We don't need to close every door now. We just need to reach out. We just need to reach out and fall into the arms of love, 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 into love's arms.
Thank you, Lelena and Chris. A couple of weeks ago, the Indian novelist Arundhati Roy wrote, "What is this thing that has happened to us? It's a virus, yes. In and of itself, it holds no moral brief, but it is definitely more than a virus. Some believe it's God's way of bringing us to our senses. Whatever it is," she says, "coronavirus has made the mighty kneel and brought the world to a halt like nothing else could." Someone I know in Boston told me about a friend of hers who awakened one morning to a six-pack of pansies sitting at his front door, given anonymously for his enjoyment and delight by a neighbor. This was very recently done. And over the past month, members of our care ministry, led by Reverend Grove, telephoned 200 ERUUFians who, because of their age, were considered high risk for the virus, so they received a check-in call to make sure that people were all right. And someone else at ERUUF put together an impromptu food drive to collect non-perishable items for the Durham food pantry when she learned that it had been experiencing unprecedented lines before it opened each morning. Then this same member got some folks together to make cloth face masks to give to people at ERUUF who were at high risk of contracting the virus. And this included me. Last week, some of us, led by ERUUF's Durham Can Action Group, packed boxes we filled with toiletries and food items to be delivered to people who received prison sentencing relief by District Attorney Satana DeBerry because they were at high risk for contracting coronavirus. These are just a few examples. We know that there are others here who are doing even more. And while these might appear to be very small acts, given the overall force of a global pandemic that has killed tens of thousands and has destabilized world economies, these seemingly small acts are what mutuality looks like. Interdependent relationships where collaboration, cooperation, and reciprocity take place. Mutuality acknowledges that we are connected, acknowledges that we need to care for one another in tangible ways. Author Charles Eisenstein points out what has become apparent to so many of us in recent months. He says that COVID-19 is showing us that when humanity is united in common cause, phenomenally rapid change is possible. None of the world's problems are technically difficult to solve. They originate in human disagreement. A few months ago, a proposal to halt commercial air travel would have seemed preposterous. Likewise, the radical changes we are making in our social behavior, economy, and the role of government in our lives. COVID demonstrates the power of our collective will when we agree on what is important. What else might we achieve, he asks, and what world shall we create? We are in the middle of a collective global trauma, and my question is, how will we be different afterwards? This is, I believe, the question of the moment for each one of us. And it begins with each one of us asking ourselves, how will I be different? What will be my new normal? How will I move forward into a new world, a new future, be a part of creating that new future for everyone? Arundhati Roy says that historically pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. Historically, she says, which means we're not experiencing something like this for the first time as humanity, but because of technology, we're aware of it in more graphic detail now than ever before in our history. She goes on to say, this pandemic is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it. How will we fight? How will we each step through that portal? I invite each of us to sit down and write a personal reflection or journal about how we're being changed personally by all of this right now, and what we hope that change will bring about for us personally and for the world. We are in a moment that holds an opportunity for great transformation for each of us individually, for all of us globally. Historically, it seems these moments don't come that often. It has actually been quite miraculous to witness what we as collective humanity have the capacity to create if we but have the will to do so. And even then, there have been issues and fighting and selfishness that needs to be addressed. However, we are in a moment. What shall we do with this moment? Shall we allow ourselves to be permanently changed by it for the well-being of us all? And what if we each sat down and reflected on this now? How we will not stop with random acts of situational kindness, though I do acknowledge these kindnesses get to the beauty at the core of what it means to be human. But will these be only random acts for a moment in time, or shall we carry them forward and allow ourselves to be forever changed by them, to allow others to be forever changed by them, to then hold in our awareness how changed we are and how that change can impact the world around us? What are our personal and collective commitments as we move forward through and beyond this pandemic into a new normal that is really new, into a new world, a new future? If we are lucky, we'll have about a year to formulate a response. May it be so. Ashe, Amen, and blessed be.
Ashe. Friends, we are living in a powerful moment when our love for each other can guide our choices. And with those loving choices together, we can help create the world that we believe is possible. This morning, our newest members have made a powerful choice, one that each of us has made at some point in the past. We all support this beloved community in many ways, including with our financial gifts. I want to make 2 points here as I at this time for the offering. First, if you are financially secure, you can support our fellowship right now by continuing to give online or through our secure portal on our website, or you can send a check. Like so many others, ERUUF's income has been affected by this pandemic. We are significantly down in income for the months of March and April. We expect this to even out, and your support now will have a significantly positive impact. So as you are able, if you can continue to give, thank you. And second, the other thing that all of us can do, if you have not yet done so, now is the time to make a pledge of support for the coming year for ERUUF that begins on July 1st. Our members' generous support is the major part of our budget. Our financial gifts make up 90% of our budget for the year. So your pledge now, your best estimate of what you're able to give in the coming year, will enable us to create a realistic budget starting in July. If that has to change, that's not a problem. We can adjust, but it would be really helpful to us now as we start to create budgets. In just a minute, we're going to listen to some music during the offering. Dr. Glenn Thomas Rideout is a friend of ERUUF. He was just with us for a fabulous weekend in mid-February. Here in this piece, he sings, "I Need You to Survive." And we've sung this in our sanctuary so many times. Here, Glenn Thomas is singing it with the General Assembly Choir. Let's listen to it now.
Tell somebody else, you are important to me. Tell 2 more people, you are important to me.
Wow. Our closing words this morning are from Lynn Unger's poem, Imagine. And she says, imagine with me for a moment. Don't worry, I'm not saying it's real. Imagine, if you can, that there has been not a calamity, but a great awakening. We have the revelation that everyone needs health care, sick leave, steady work. It occurs to us that healthcare workers are heroes, also teachers, not to mention the artists of all kinds who teach us resilience and joy. Imagine, if you will, that we turn to our neighbors in mutual aid, trading eggs for milk, checking in on those who are elderly or alone. Imagine that each of us felt suddenly called to wonder, in this moment, what does the world need from me? What are my gifts? Yes, I know it's just a fantasy. The world would never change so radically overnight. But imagine. Go in peace, my friends. Go in love, and may your life be a blessing. And I invite you to stay on the screen for this last song where you will have instructions for how to get to the Zoom coffee hour should you desire to attend. Amen. May you be well.
We have spent time together, and these holy moments give us strength to go down the winding road until we meet again. We have spent time together, and these holy moments give us strength to go down the winding road until we meet again. And my prayer for you is a peace that's true until we meet again.
Have a great week, everybody.